It's on.
Okay, who are you? Who are we talking to?
You're talking to Stephen Stanley Gowden.
Oh.
I'm 49 years of age. I'm the father of two boys, Scott and Sean Gowden. I live with my sweetheart, Patricia Ertel, at 25 Bridlewood Drive in Dundas.
And what's gonna happen soon about this house?
I don't know. It's going to go up. We're going to put a listing out. I don't know what's going to happen from that. If somebody might be interested, chances are maybe nobody's interested. I think my son Scott is a little worried we're going to move away from this house.
Mm-hmm. And do you want it?
No big deal for me. If I find another house that's nicer and in the area especially, I think Scott wouldn't mind moving. I wouldn't mind moving.
Okay, so what's happened this month?
Well, we've had a lot of fun actually. It's been a good summer. Sean has been working, and you have been involved in what you mentioned about the sports camp and the swimming classes. And you completed your blue level or something? Green level. And it's been a good summer. You guys have stayed out of any major problems, except yesterday you screwed up with Corin a bit and got lost and all that, and got us really worried that you might have drowned. But no, I've enjoyed the summer. I've enjoyed being with the kids and so on. What else would you like to know?
What major world events have happened?
Well, a lot of interesting world events. I'm fascinated about what's going on in the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe.
What?
A lot of the countries that used to be under the Soviet Union are now having elections and electing the people they want and kicking the communists out. And a lot of the countries in Soviet Union are saying they want to be separated or separate countries. Like Scott mentioned that the Ukraine declared themselves independent or something. That I find absolutely fascinating. Those are the big news events. What else?
Where are you going next month?
Well, next month we're going to Norway, Sweden, and Poland. And,
where is? Where is that?
Where is that? It's in Europe, and it's in Northern Europe, and so it could be a little cool up in Scandinavia.
How long are you going for?
A little less than a month, 27 days or something.
And when are you coming back?
Coming back about August 29th.
And what have you done? Have you gotten a haircut?
Yeah, well, you might notice it's
your beard?
fairly short. My beard's trimmed, but I'll probably get it trimmed again before I go.
I see. Is that to look neat on your trip?
Just so I don't have to worry about taking care of it. Because we travel with the minimum of clothes and combs and things like that.
I see. What else would you like to tell?
What else? Well, okay. In terms of, we mentioned world events. In terms of music, well, I guess there's some good music out, but I too sometimes have difficulty focusing in on a particular song like that. I often listen to my old tapes of some old songs and old singers.
Any groups?
Well, I like folk singing, so I like Peter, Paul, and Mary and the Seekers, and I like Dan Fogelberg, and you guys seem to like Fogelberg especially, and a lot of the old songs and old singers like Al Jolson and a lot of good stuff like that.
All right. When's your birthday?
My birthday's March 25th.
Someday you'll look back on this tape. when you'll be old and have grandchildren.
Right. Well, I'll wave to my grandchildren. Here's to Scotty's kids. Hi there. And Sean's kids too.
I'm sure they'll appreciate it.
Right. I'll blow you a kiss.
Whee! Alright.
Okay. Hippity hippity, that's all, folks.
Hello, and what is your name?
Stefan Gaudun.
And what is the date today?
Myra's birthday,
Which is?
October the 19th, 2012.
What is your name? Your full name?
There's a little controversy there. On my passport, I am Stephen Gaudun. On my citizenship, I'm Stefan Gaudun. According to my mother, she wanted to give me an English name, and so she stuck Stanley between Stephen and Gaudun. And I know Stanley is
Thank
famous
you.
in terms of cups, but I'm not too fond of Stanley.
What is your height?
I'm basically 6 feet tall. I'm not shrinking yet,
What
strangely enough.
is your age?
Last time I checked, it was 71.
When were you born?
I was born March 25th, 1941. I think it was a Tuesday, I remember.
And where were you born?
I was born in a place that sounds real Canadian. Iroquois Falls, Ontario, Canada, which once held the record for the coldest temperature in Ontario at minus 60 degrees
Ooh.
Fahrenheit.
Wow. So, do you have any, what's the name of your mother and father?
My mother's name, interestingly enough, I'm Stefan. She was Stefania. And my father said, my name is not Nicholas, it's Nick. So it's Nick and Stefania.
And, do they have middle names?
No, I don't think, except if you go in the Ukrainian or Russian tradition, you have a middle name that's related to your father's name. So I don't know what her father's name was, I can't remember, but for example, I would be Stefan Nikolaevich Gaudun. That means son of Nicholas or Nick.
Okay. So, do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have an older brother, 6 years older, Peter, and I have a younger brother by the name of Ted, or the Ukrainian version is Taras.
Okay. Do you have any pets? Or did you have?
Yes, I do. My pet is Pat.
You are so nice. Do you remember? Can you tell us about your grandparents?
No, I never met them, and I feel I missed out. I think it would have been nice to know my grandparents, but I did have a really nice uncle and aunt, but I never met my grandparents.
Okay. And how many cousins would you think you have?
I have not a good idea. I've got a number of cousins in Brazil. There's 3 or 4 down there, but that's the only ones I can think of at the moment. I'm sure I have a few others scattered around.
Okay, and do you remember anything? So, what is life all about?
Wow. Well, I'm a little older than you or Leah, and I'm supposed to have a better idea. But a lot of the things I heard from you guys sound quite appropriate. Friends and family and having a passion about something, whether it's the stage or videoing or traveling or whatever. That's a good start.
What are your interests?
Well, when I did this video once in Toronto at Arcadia Apartments, I think it was your father who was asking me the questions. And he was especially interested in who was my girlfriend, and it's the same girlfriend I had then. And my interests have remained fairly constant too. I said I like winemaking, I like cooking, and I like eating what I cook. And I'm interested in sports like football and hockey and that sort of thing.
Do you have a famous meal or thing that you like to cook?
Oh yeah, and I've got to find a few more. I have a terrific jambalaya dish and a paella or paella dish, and I make a very nice Asian vegetable soup, but I really think I'm going to try to expand that this year.
Oh, and pumpkin cheesecake.
Oh, and my chocolate cheesecake, of course, is pretty good, and yeah, and I do make a wonderful pumpkin cheesecake too.
Do you have any real pets?
Just Pat.
Anyone sitting next to you? Preferably right there?
Herc, are you kidding? That little... How come all the pets you ever get bite me?
Like,
Rascal bit
could
his
you
heart.
name some of these animals?
Yeah, I think there was a rascal around here before, and that was one of them.
What kind of animal was Rascal?
He was a toothy, bitey ferret.
Okay, very nice. What is your earliest memory? Like,
I don't think I'm very good at earliest memories.
okay.
I remember I used to collect comic books. I remember I used to, even at a young age, I think about 10 or 11, used to read the newspaper. I used to start out reading the comic section. Then I shifted over to the sports section too. And now I can read the whole paper. Actually, I check the obituaries quite a bit these days.
Do you know what your first word was?
I might have been, Mama!
Okay. Do you remember anything when you were a little kid?
Again, I just, that when I used to read The Spectator, I remember I used to rip off the bottom piece of the paper and chew it.
Now, what?
I used to chew the newspaper. I literally ate up the news.
You and Herc have got something in common.
Now, do you remember any naughty things?
Oh yeah, I do remember a few naughty things.
There's a 70-year rule.
They weren't really naughty. I used that 7-year rule once because once I nearly drowned in the bay. There was a raft tied to the wharf, and my younger brother and his friend Ross were with him, and I thought I'd step onto the raft. Well, I found out you never step onto a raft timidly. So I put one leg on the raft and one leg was on the shore, and they both parted, and I was in the water, and I was about 12 years old. I couldn't swim, and I did a lot of thrashing and grabbing onto the pier, which was fairly high, and somehow, being scared to death, I had, I guess, a lot of adrenaline, and I, with the help of my younger brother and his friend and my arm strength, I managed to pull myself out. Then I went to a nearby marsh, hung out my clothes on the branches of the trees so they would dry, and then I went home. About 7 or 8 years later, I said to my mom, "Mom, I nearly drowned 8 years ago." Yes, and she was quite shocked. She was appreciative that I finally told her, and she was wondering how many other things there were back then. I said, "Well, the 7 years haven't passed yet, so I can't tell you at this moment." So that's the way that worked out.
Telling us this, how do you get along with your mom and dad?
Well, I love my mom and dad, got along really well, and when they were old, I did my best to, get them to the church, to go to seniors club and all that sort of stuff. And yeah.
How about your siblings?
I get along fairly well with my siblings. I actually meet both of them at Tiger Cat football games, and we seem to enjoy just being together because Tiger Cats weren't winning very many games, so we had to get some enjoyment out of it. So we would chat about things.
Do you live fairly close to them?
They're both about an hour away. One's in a place called Dunville, and I don't know if you've heard of the other place. It's called Kitchener. Right. Okay. Anyway, that's where the other one is.
What do you like to do?
As I said, I do a lot of wine making, wine drinking, hiking, traveling when it gets cold. Going surfing on the internet, collecting music that I like. I have about 1,500 musical keepers, and I keep adding to that. And I like doing some stuff on the computer where I'm doing some video editing. I was helping a friend who was going to visit his sister who's got cancer, and he was I put together a number of interesting songs and karaoke stuff that they're gonna do. And I enjoy doing that for him. So.
Now let's talk about favorites.
Okay.
Movies?
Movies, I enjoyed the Harry Potter things and Narnia and all that sort of stuff, and the Star Trek and Star Wars, and I do like comedies. And actually, most of the actors and actresses I like are either dead or doing diaper commercials. So one of my favorite channels is Turner Classic Movies. So yeah, that's.
How about music?
Music, I like a lot of big band stuff. I like traditional folk stuff. There's a few, every now and then, a few good songs come out. Recently, like Andrea Bocelli and something, and the Prayer and whatever. But most of the songs I like really go back before 1955. A great majority of them are back then.
Do you play sports?
I always looked athletic, but I was never athletic until late into my 20s, and then I started doing some exercises. And now I'm just an absolute nut about them. I exercise more than 12 hours a week, so 5 to 7 days a week, oftentimes an hour and a half of swimming laps, and then we do 45 minutes of water fit. Grandma and I do that. She doesn't exercise as much as I do, but I'm so buff I could appear on one of those fireman's calendars.
Okay, and is there a swimming pool near you?
Fortunately, there is in Dundas. I used to go to one in Hamilton, but then I said, gee, the one in Dundas is much closer, and they have a saltwater pool, 10% of the salinity of ocean water. And that's nice. And so it's a 25-meter pool, and in an hour and a half, I can do nearly 150 laps. So if you figure that out, that's quite a few kilometers.
Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm afraid I am, but I really don't go there often or look at what's going on
And
too
how
often.
many friends would you say you have?
Oh, not many, 20 or 30 or something. I don't keep count.
And are they close friends?
Some are close friends. I have a group of guys that I go out with every few months, and there's about 7 guys there. I have a friend. I have a friend who I actually gave him a watch on our 50th anniversary. We were together 50 years, and now we're together 64 years.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. It's George.
Nice. What have you done as jobs?
I used to work as a counselor with the Hamilton Board of Education. I was a teacher for a couple of years, and I enjoyed the kids at elementary school and high school, and now I enjoy being retired.
So now we're getting to the end of our interview.
I'm not going to put my leg behind my head.
I know. What would you ask 90-year Steve?
Oh boy.
Any questions?
90-year-old Steve. First question is, are you still alive? That's one big question. And how old and rickety are you? Do you have any exercise schedule aside from getting out of bed and pushing yourself away from the table? You know, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other things you want to ask?
Oh yeah. Do you still travel? Does Pat still go with you if there's snorkeling to be done? That pretty well covers it. You know, I don't want to ask this 90-year-old too many questions.
Okay, so we're at the end. I'm not gonna test you on your flexibility, but is there anything you find a talent
Yes,
for you?
Oh, you were supposedly flexible. I didn't see you do this though, or this. Huh? Not too bad, right? Let's see.
Anything?
I look at the ears.
Your eyebrows are twitching.
Well, my ears are moving too.
Did you try to touch putting your hair like that?
Are you? You got something against Grandpa? You're trying to kill him? Jeez. No way.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I was just saying, are you still alive? You know.
Do you have any closing words or anything?
Closing words? I've enjoyed the trip. I've enjoyed the people I've met, the things I've done, and I hope I'm around for a few more years because I'd like to dance at Myra and Leah's wedding.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.